So yeah, I'm just gonna keep running through and setting this up. I set up this goofy little unfinished pier, which is just the same duplicated board over and over and over, and I kind of gave it some variation for fun. So I'm just gonna add some random nonsense in here. Perhaps I will add a sad boat. Oh, give me a sec. Polygon primitives. I like interactive creation. Sue me, but I like interactive creation. I can never remember which ones I actually want for this. Alright, cool. So this is gonna be my sad boat. It's gonna be a real sad boat. But here we are. There's definitely better ways to create this that would probably be faster, but I don't care. 5-minute demo boat, so, you know, do what you will with that. Sad boat. Hooray. And I can never just, like, every time I'm like, I'm gonna make a sad boat, and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna make it like a slightly less sad boat. I can't stop myself. It's irritating. Frankly, it is very irritating. Alright, so here's my somewhat less pathetic boat. I'm just gonna go ahead and extrude that in and be like, cool, you will literally... Wow, that is filled with water. We're gonna run with it. Alright, and I'm just going to assign this the sad brown Lambert wood texture that I'm using for this other thing, and look, we have a sad boat. I do feel compelled to give this some kind of sail. That's excessive. And it's going to be, once again, a very sad sail. Where am I going? What am I doing? Sure. Give me this thing, and I will just scale these in, and extrude this whole thing. Great. That was excessive. This is the thickest cloth that has ever been known to man. I will just make this a random white Lambert. I will Alt-Shift-Delete to delete history on this. White Lamberts. Alright. And this, once again, will be my sad boat material. Delightful. Alright, so now we have a sail on this thoroughly excessive boat. I'm going to parent that to the mast, and the mast to the actual boat, so that when we move the boat, it takes the rest of the stuff with it. Hooray. Moving boats. I did make myself a list of other things, and then I lost that list, so I'm going to ignore that cough. I did decide there's going to be like a weird little sort of Ferris wheel kind of thing in the background, so I'm going to go ahead and just very quickly generate that. Why are you not? Oh, right, because I'm still in the stupid. Okay. Well, cough, cough. Alright, and then I'm just going to cheat this real hard and just add, this could just be a giant spinning bike wheel. Obviously, if I was trying to make something nicer, I would maybe put a little bit more effort into this, but for now, it is totally fine. Alright, so I'm just going to do that, and then I'll duplicate this, and I'm going to hold down J, and that will actually snap rotate by, the default is 15 degrees, so I will just do, basically, rotate this every 30 degrees, and then I will have my goofy boat, or Ferris wheel type object. I will go ahead and select all of these spokes, not my water plane, and I'm just going to be really lazy. I know I'm not going to do anything nice with this, so I'm just going to do a mesh combine. Delete the history on that. Again, Alt-Shift-D is the hotkey for that. And now I have a very goofy Ferris wheel for the background. I am going to make a strange landmass for this to sit on, which I'm feeling very spazzy, so that's just going to be a very awkward, soft-selected sphere. And I'm going to be like, look, it's a landmass. Sort of. I'm going to add a cube onto that so that this Ferris wheel object has something that it looks maybe like it would actually sit on. And I'm going to put that here-ish, give or take. Sure. This looks very weird. Anywho. Alright, so we're gonna go add existing material. I'm just gonna be really lazy again and make that wood. And this is another one of those things where, like, I should totally put some kind of stand on this, but since this is just a strange demo, I'm going to just entirely ignore that and just leave that there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually just going to group all of this. I would parent it, but land mass. Alright. And I'm going to take this land mass and move it. I'm going to first look for my... Ooh, wow, that's ginormous. Okay, so let's take this whole thing and actually scale it down a little bit, maybe rotate it and be like, alright, cool. I'm going to sink this into the water a little bit. Maybe bring that a bit closer so we have this sort of strange... I think I might also actually think that, yes, that helps. Okay, great. Alright, so that's my goofy Ferris wheel. Cool, delightful. I'm going to go ahead and add, what else do I need in this? So I need some water. That's going to be, the water itself is going to be one of my looping objects. This is going to be a looping object. This is also going to be a looping object. And for grins, I'm going to make some real sketchy clouds. To be honest, I have not tried the clouds. I feel like this might end terribly, but I'm going to try it just to see what happens. I'm honestly curious. So I'm going to be like, yay, multiple spheres. I'll make this one longer. This is going to look really bad. Again, this is not... If I cared about this, and I was actually making this for a purpose other than demo, I would, you know, make this nicer looking. But the scaling of these might have been a bad decision. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that a bit, because that looks insane. Alright. What do you see in this cloud? Alright, cool. So we have some clouds. I'm just going to kind of shift this around to get a tiny bit more variation. And I am only going to be viewing these from one angle, so I'm going to shamelessly ignore the fact that these have really no dimension from the side, because shrugs. And I'm just going to duplicate this and maybe do like, cool, here's a really goofy little extra floating cloud wisp thing. These, I am going to make them a blend. Actually, ooh, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do another thing. This is not a clever thing that I'm describing. I'm going to go and add those and just make them a surface shader. This will be matte if you're using usually like Arnold or something. Real. Clouds. Klaus, that works too. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and just make them white, so they're like basically just like a really trashy outline of clouds. No matter which way you look at these will have no shading. These do not respond to light. They're just white. And actually that looks terrible, but I just don't care enough right now. So, I'm going to go ahead and just, again, mesh combine these, delete history. So I'm using G to repeat the last command, which in this case was mash combine, and Alt-Shift-D again to get rid of the history. So I'm going to go ahead and group those, clouds, and I will move them somewhere less stupid. So I'm going to do modify center pivot, and I think what I'm going to do maybe, well, first of all, I'm going to make sure that these actually show up correctly in my camera. They could totally be smaller. Alright. Yes, so I think what I'm going to do, and this is going to be really weird, use duplicate special. I'm going to duplicate these a bunch of times. So I'm going to go ahead and just freeze translations on them, doesn't super matter. And I am going to duplicate this once and see how far I want this moved over. So let's just say 36. Cool. I'm going to go create, edit, duplicate, special, where am I going? Control-Shift-D is the hotkey, but I got to set up some preferences. Here are the preferences. So that was translate Z, so we're going to go translate 36. I want this to be a copy, not an instance. I just don't want to deal with instances. And I'm just going to kind of duplicate these a bunch of times. So what we're going to do, again, I have absolutely no idea at all if this will work. Master clouds. So this is going to be all the clouds. So I'm going to do modify, center pivot, and I'm going to translate Z this, let's say negative 100, and basically we're just going to need to get this to line up at the end. So what I think I'm actually going to do, because it's going to just make my life a tiny bit easier, I'm going to line this up so it looks like this is like right at the edge of here, and you can't see the repeating tile from there. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that where it is. So all I need to do, theoretically, if this is a 120 frame animation, is key this here, and then go over to frame 120, and move this so that another one of these clouds is on the bottom. Just like barely touching, so we have negative 1.2. I think maybe 4. Alright, I'm just going to eyeball that and manually line it up. I'm going to run with it. I have auto key turned on, so what we should have is a more or less looping animation of clouds or something. No idea if that's actually going to work. So what I'm going to do is make another one of these and move it over negative 36 so that I have that tiny bit of extra stuff there. And you can see if I go back and forth, I did a pretty good job, it seems, lining that up. So now we should have some very awkward looping clouds in the background that are constantly moving, or at least look like they are. Alright, so that's pretty much that. I'm just going to go ahead and start sort of randomly animating stuff. So I'm going to start here, and actually in this case all I really care about is rotation, so I'm just going to do Shift E to key that, and I need a multiple of 360 if you want this to end up in the same position that it was before. So what I'm going to do is actually something that I don't necessarily... Where am I going? Aha, blend, okay. I'm just gonna make this like a random happy yellow color because yellow is fun, right? And then I'm gonna do something that I don't normally advise, but I want to do it to make a point. I'm going to, did I select edges? I want face select. Great. So I'm just gonna make this, and I will do a new material, also blend marker. And we are going to make that a random red color, mostly just because I want to show you guys how this would line up. So, full rotation, one full rotation is going to be 360 degrees. So if we want this to rotate and line back up where it was previously, we are going to need a multiple of 360, which this is probably going to end up being way too fast. This is sad, I should know what like 360 times 3 is, but I'm very lazy. Ah, yes. Great, 1080. I'm an idiot. Cool. Fun times. Okay, so we need rotate X, and that's going to be 1080. Cool. Now we should have a goofy spinning Ferris wheel that will line back up where it is at the beginning and just be perpetually spinning. Yes. I can show you guys some weird stuff about, like, yeah, later problems. Alright, so let's do the boat, and this I'm just gonna have, I'm gonna have this one do the one where it's like it comes in and it comes out in the animation, so I'm actually going to go ahead and just sort of rotate this boat randomly, and it's gonna come in from maybe over here. I'm just gonna go ahead and just set another keyframe over there because I know I'm gonna need it. So it's gonna swim into the scene? That's not how this works. It's gonna come into scene. I am not doing any kind of timing animation on this, and I probably should be. I am also not focusing at all whether the motion of this boat is at all realistic, although somehow it seems to be going not completely terribly, which scares me. Alright, so here's our boat doing something, and actually it occurs to me this is off screen. It doesn't matter in the slightest if this is at the same position that it started in. So, never mind. That's just gonna be kind of over here, randomly. So now we have this boat doing something that boats do. I don't know. This is gross and slidey to me, and I don't like it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move that and like sort of tweak it a tiny bit. That still doesn't feel like how boats move, but you know, whatever. I'm gonna run with it. Again, this is like a 10-minute animation, so here we are. It also comes in really fast, and I keep saying that I'm like not gonna tweak this more, and then I'm like, what if I tweak this more? So this is why I don't start hobby projects, because they take forever and then I never stop. All right, so we have this goofy boat. It's doing its goofy boat thing. I said that the water is going to be animated, so I'm gonna do that. And I have a video on this, which if I remember, I'll link it in the description. If not, it'll be in the, you can find it just on the channel. So we're gonna go deform and texture deformer. I hope to God I didn't test the audio since doing some stuff, so hopefully it's not appalling. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and just map a random noise texture here. Ooh, yes, okay, cool. Lumpy water. And for grins, I am going to add in a ground plane or something under this. Actually, no. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do the thing that I started to do before in the other video, which is just make myself a real trashy looking sky. It's gonna be amazing. And by amazing, I mean very, very sad looking. But here we are. Okay, so this is the front of my scene apparently. I kind of wish I hadn't rotated it. That was like a weird decision, but here we are. Alright, so if we're looking, what I want is for this to basically be reversed. So I'm going to mesh display reverse it. And I'm going to assign this a new material. I'm going to use a surface shader because I don't really want this affected by light. And I'm just going to say sky ground. Sky's ground. Close enough. Or something. I'm going to give this a ramp texture. And this should be fun. This should be a cool thing that it does. I'm going to turn on my shaded view. And what I'm going to do is set interpolation on this to none. Move this to 0.5. And because of the way this is set up, what it's going to basically give us, since our ground plane is on, or the water is like on 0, 0, 0, and that is also where the center of the circle is, it should give us basically something that looks like water and sky. So what I can do now is map more ramp textures into this, because I'm a spaz. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this perhaps like a light aqua color, whatever, up here. And this bottom one is going to be some ungodly deep blue, and I'm going to do something like that. And now we have the... This didn't work out how I wanted at all. So I'm going to maybe swap these colors. This is not an improvement. I am winging this particular part of the tutorial very aggressively. Okay, so we've created a very, very bad looking fake depth sort of feel to this, maybe. I don't know. It gets deeper the far. Actually, what I should do, this is a very, very bad way to cheat. But like now we have some faked atmospheric perspective or something. I don't know. This is just a bad tutorial to give you guys ideas. The cat fountain in the background started freaking out, and it freaked me out. So I'm going to map another ramp into the sky, and I don't know how skies work, so I'm going to make this a sunset texture. We're going to start perhaps with some kind of lovely deep purple. If I can make a lovely deep purple, I have problems with purples. And that's going to go up to some kind of perhaps yellow color. This is a very ugly looking color combination. My god. Blah. Okay, and actually this purple needs to start at 0.5 because that's halfway up the thing. That's why it wasn't showing up. Alright, so we have this red and this purple, and it occurs to me now that I look at this that is not how skies work. So we're going to do this, and maybe exponential up, exponential down. Sure, that looks kind of not totally awful. And it turns out that I'm actually going to make this purple a deep blue, and this is possibly one of the ugliest sunset scenes I have ever seen. Yes. Okay. Anyway, maybe that is a little kind of better, maybe? I don't know. Guys, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm winging this entire thing right now. These clowns now look completely ridiculous, but the heck with it. So you don't want to delete history on this now that it has the texture deformer on it, because it'll break the texture deformer, so I'm actually going to go over and scroll properly. I will turn the transparency down on that a tiny bit. And now we have some kind of extremely goofy looking scene here. I probably should have not done the sunset, but here we are. I'm going to also maybe make this a touch lighter so you can sort of see what's happening. So, the fun thing that you can do, going back to actually making the water animated, or pseudo-animated, wow, oh my god, the poor boat. That's so bad, oh my god. Alright, so, if we go back into the texture deformer, into this noise texture thing that we've made, what we can do is if you scrub through time, it's going to make this jiggly. So I'm going to set a keyframe on time, just right click and do set key. And this is where stuff gets like a tiny bit weird, so I'm going to take this up to 1. And I'll set another keyframe. What am I doing? Oops. Thank you. Oh, right, I have auto key turned on, so I don't need to actually set keys. The keys for these also don't tend to show up in the time slider, but if you go to the Hypershade animation editors, graph editor, I'm sorry, I do this every time. If you go to the graph editor, you can see and modify the keys there. So, I just want to double check to see if 1 is the same as 0. Very much not the case. So what I'm going to do is actually just go halfway into my animation, and this is not the most elegant solution to this. It's just a really quick one if you want to sort of make it, you know, a little bit different. So what we can do is maybe, I'm just going to add some other random values in here, 1.2, and can we do negative? I don't know if I've ever actually tried that. I probably should have tried that, but apparently you can. You can do negative time values. Ooh, which actually makes me wonder, let me see if -1 is the same as +1, because that would be insanely convenient. No, still not the same. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete those keyframes. And double check to make sure they're deleted. Once again, in my good god, graph editor here. Oof. Clearly not deleted. So I'm just going to go ahead, highlight them, and be like, no, that was a bad decision that I made. So now we have this very goofy water that if you play it, look, I'm not going to say this is amazing water animation, but it loops and it's gooey. So here is the animation as we have it now. This poor boat is not having a good time. I'm going to go ahead and just add a few keyframes to this so that the boat isn't perpetually sinking in the water. I'm going to also call it the water animation good. So this is like one of those things where like I would maybe, you know, give a little rotation to this just based on the whatever the water is doing. So I would, if I cared enough, I would like animate the water first. And then you get a little bit of, again, just kind of like a slightly nicer effect of the boat actually moving through the water and sort of rocking around and all of that. It's like anywhere it's sinking, I'm just like, what if I go in and add some more keyframes there so it's not sinking? Like here, haha. Alright. So again, this is not meant to be the most step-by-step instructional, it's just sort of like a really quick demo of like how I would do something like this if I was going to do something like this. Now we have that boat looks so much cuter now. And it took 10 seconds. Alright, so I'm going to say that this is fairly acceptable for our animation. Where am I? Oh, right. Alright, so notice the clouds are disintegrating aggressively. They're going through the sad sky that I added in. And for the record, so I'm just going to move this straight back, so that's not an issue. But actually, that's still an issue. And actually, I can just move this over like this, and then we should be good. All right, cool. So for the record, here's what we have, and right now, you'll notice I'm actually, you know what, I'm gonna stop this, save this. Ooh, binaries. Nobody wants binary files. Doop. All right. So we have two versions of this. So this is kind of the gross version, and you can see, like, if we're playing through this, it's really odd. Like, the clouds and the Ferris wheel both sort of stop randomly, so everything comes to either being completely still, or in the case of the boat, off screen when the animation is going. The only thing that's working sort of right now is the water. God help the poor water, because it does look really ridiculous. But we want to fix that for the animation. And actually, what probably would have also made sense is to make the boat be off screen for a little bit longer, because it's like really. I'm gonna go ahead and actually push the boat farther off screen, just so it's farther off screen. Like it. What am I doing? What am I saying? I feel like it needs to be slightly off screen for longer before the end, because it's just like teleporting immediately at the end of the loop. And like, again, I'm not spending a huge amount of time on this, so whatever, but if this is like an actual animation, it looks a little weird. It also looks a little weird right now where it's like, whoop, and then it like zips off aggressively. But either way, fixing all of the crazy looping animation, or the interpolation where it's like slow, 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 fast, 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 slow, slow, slow. What am I saying? It starts off slow, gets fast, slows down again. You can do that in the Hypershade, or I'm sorry, I keep calling it Hypershade. You can do that in the graph editor. I think that's just the easiest way to do it. Open that again. Just grab all of these points, and you just want to use the linear tangents button. And if you look at the wheel specifically, you can see now it's just spinning forever at a uniform way. It's not doing anything like super crazy where it's like looping really weird. There is a weird sort of blip that's happening, and that is basically where we have like a duplicate frame here, so it's like having a weird little like looks like it's pausing kind of deal. Did I close the stupid? No, it's over here. Great. So I'm just going to do the same thing again with the clouds. So I'm just going to highlight everything and do linear tangents, so it's moving at a uniform speed for eternity. So we have this, and now we have clouds that are sort of moving at a nice linear way, and this is pretty much, you know, an acceptable looping animation. Could it use some refinement? Yes. Does it meet all the requirements for the assignment? Minus the fact that I think I'm one object short, yeah, it pretty much does what you would need to do. So, this is that. Yeah. Yay.